Support for Steppin Out is made possible by local author Sarada Bonnet. In Notes for Forgiveness, Bonnet shares her childhood story as daughter of famed rockabilly singer Sherry Davis. Notes for Forgiveness, available in bookstores and at saradabonnet.com.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, actress Kimberly Kaye, here to discuss a Christmassacre story.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be a lot of fun at the Shadowbox. Looking forward to hearing about that.
All about it.
Very welcome to you. Poppy Tooker, host of the WWNO radio program Louisiana Eats.
Hey,
Hi
Peg.
there. Mardi Gras historian Arthur Hardy. No, it's okay. We can actually have Arthur on before January 6th. It's not like king cakes, okay? Here to discuss a new edition of his book. Hey, Arthur.
Hey,
hello.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. Great. Congratulations on this. And Alan Smason, editor of the online Crescent City Jewish News. And book reviewer Susan Larson will join us later in our program. But first up, celebrating, but doing good at the same time.
It's really nice to go to a fun holiday party and make it for a great cause. And that's what's happening on Friday, December 12th from 7 till 9 p.m. People may not be aware of Cafe Hope on the West Bank. It's a nonprofit culinary arts and life skills program. It's for ages 17 through 23, and it's really the only seat-to-table restaurant that operates on the West Bank. That's part of what they do. They have a gorgeous community garden, and a lot of what they raise in that community garden actually goes to be cooked in the restaurant every day. 250 students have completed this program since 2010. 72% of them get permanent employment, and a lot of them are in great places. 5 of them are working for the Best Restaurant Group. There's a graduate on the Natchez, and Amber Mallory has been at the Ritz-Carlton for over 4 years. So you can contribute to Cafe Hope by $100 a ticket, Hope and Holidays on the Natchez. It's going to be great food, Luther Kent and the Trick Bag.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be open bar. It's going to be great fun. So I suggest make it a holiday party and do good. Now, speaking of holiday partying all over town, of course, the Réveillon dinners are happening. Can you believe this has been going on for 30 years now? And it's incredible. There's 45 restaurants to choose from, between $34 and $100. There's 15 of them that are below $45. Brennan's Restaurant, 5 courses, $90. Incredible deal. At the Upper Line, Uptown, Joanne's been doing this for a very long time. She was the first one that wasn't in the quarter to participate. You get 4 courses for $45, and that includes choices of things like turtle soup or gumbo, her famous fried green tomatoes with the shrimp remoulade, the slow roasted duck, oh yum, the bread pudding, creme brulee for dessert. But the best deal, and I don't know how they do this, is at the Gumbo Shop. For $34 at the Gumbo Shop, you get 5 courses. You get a soup course of oyster artichoke soup, chicken andouille gumbo, or turtle soup. There's a salad. Then there's a big choice of catfish St. Pierre, crawfish étouffée, crab cakes, roasted duck with a rum sauce. Goes on for dessert, chocolate cheesecake with raspberry liqueur sauce. But incredibly, you also get Cafe Brûlot.
One of my favorite things.
I know. They say it's a little lagniappe, and I'm counting it as the 5th course. $34. Wow. I'll see you there.
Yes, and for the whole list of the holiday menus,
That's
there you
right
go.
there
Full
online.
screen. Okay,
Yeah.
good, very good. And Arthur, yes, it's okay to talk about Carnival, especially when you put out the 5th edition of your book.
But I want to talk about the Gumbo Shop.
I know.
I'm ready to go. My
Let's
goodness.
go.
Yeah, Peg, as a Christmas gift for the Mardi Gras Not in Your Family, we all have them. It's the 5th edition of our coffee table. What is it called? Mardi Gras New Orleans and Illustrated History. That's it. And we've updated. It's been 5 years since we've done anything with it, and it's selling quite well, and very proud of it. A lot of
we're
good
going to
stuff in
show
there.
some of the photos from it. It's beautifully illustrated.
Thank you.
It really is. But updating it, that takes a lot of work.
It does, because so much has happened in the last 5 years. nothing probably any less significant than the Saints winning the Super Bowl and the impact that had on Mardi Gras with the Super Bowl Gras, I guess we call it. And Mardi Gras has changed quite a bit since we started. Our first edition was in '01.
Wow.
And the whole idea behind the book, and we'll continue to update it as long as I'm here, is to kind of have one source where everything you need to know is there. So we've got a dictionary of terms, we've got the 25 most asked questions, and then a complete history through the 2014 season. In the back of the book has an encyclopedia where we list more than 55 kings and queens, 5,500 kings and queens of 200 organizations, many of which ain't there no more. Right. And we even have the Fat Tuesday temperature on every day since 1860. Crazy stuff.
Nash Roberts is smiling.
Yeah, you're only going to find in something that I've sillily put together, I guess, but it's a lot of fun. And if you can't have fun with Mardi Gras, check your pulse.
So tomorrow you're signing?
I'm at Beverlo on Royal Street tomorrow, and that's going to be a lot of fun from 11 to 1. And next week I'm doing several Winn-Dixies, and all of this is on my website, mardigras.guide.com, where you also can order the book. But I enjoy meeting people. I get great stories from our magazine when I do book signings. People come up and say, "Do you remember?" And either I do, or I say, "No, tell me about it." New idea, new idea.
Well, of course, every year we eagerly anticipate the Mardi Gras Guide, so you are pressed with it right now?
Nope. Next week, when I leave here, I'm going back to work. We're in press next week. We'll be out the day after Christmas
but
with
it's
the
fresh.
magazine.
That's what people need to know. Talk about fresh stuff.
There's some things that I can't even tell you that's going to be in the magazine.
And yes, check out those Winn-Dixies. That's a great opportunity to be able to go.
And again, meeting people's fun. You don't have to buy something. Just come say hello.
Yeah.
Bring me a doubloon.
That's fine. The other thing people may not know is, of course, that you do other media gigs, too.
Yes, of course, I work for Channel 6 and for WWNO Radio, and now my second year with the New Orleans Advocate. And
Congratulations.
it's the first time I've had a daily opportunity to contribute, because things do change, and of course, websites and all. But
yeah, I was going to say, you do a lot for your website as well.
I do, and I enjoy it. And then Ash Wednesday, I go back into my cave, and you'll see me again next year.
Well, I sure hope. I'm just hoping, and I bet you have some influence on this, that they do those parade bulletins again in the Advocate.
Actually, it's funny you should mention it.
Those beautiful colored
They did
pullouts.
5 last year. I think we're doing about 12 this year.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you got to keep them.
Yeah, you
talk
do.
about collectible.
Oh, the day they came out, they were on eBay that night.
Also, plug, I look forward to you and Errol and I getting together for our special edition of
Can't
Steppin'
wait.
Out
Good deal.
coming soon.
I'll be here.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Merry
Greg.
Christmas, too. And now, though, it is time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight, we're featuring several works of art by artists who have contributed to Sunday's art auction at New Orleans Auction on Julia Street, benefiting WYES. Campbell Hutchinson, Allison Stewart, Hunt Slonim, wow, Cleland Powell, James Michalopoulos, look at the beautiful variety, Mallory Page, and we've got Richard C. Swenson as well. New Orleans Auction Galleries will auction off the works in a live auction, not televised, live, this Sunday, December 7th, NewOrleansAuction.org for more information, or at WYES.org. You could also visit WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including Casey Willems' Pottery and Connie Willems, too. Jewelry Holiday Show, and that's on sale this weekend, and the Musica de Camera concert. You can go to WYES to see our program if you missed it online, WYES.org. And now, through the magic of television, Miss Susan Larson is with us, and boy, does she have a lot of locally themed books perfect for Christmas presents.
I do. Clear out some space under the tree, baby, because there are lots. So starting with fiction, I'm going to race through this list. Let Me Be Frank With You is the new book from Richard Ford, 4 novellas catching us up with Frank Bascom, who is now living in New Jersey and the post-Hurricane Sandy reconstruction. This is going to strike a chord with a lot of New Orleans readers. It's going to have that story of destruction, comeback, resilience, beautifully written, very, very funny. And Richard Ford is coming to town on Sunday, December 14th to sign at the Garden District Bookshop from 5 to 7. Now, in nonfiction, it's been a banner year. Of course, if you haven't read The Innovators, how hackers, geniuses, and geeks created the digital revolution, get on it. I mean, Walter Isaacson was just in town to sign this book and speak about it, and it is so much fun to read. You'll look at your PC with a new appreciation, I assure you. And then one of the great gifts to give this season is Jerry Lee Lewis, His Own Story by Rick Bragg. You pop this in a bag with a CD and somebody's Christmas will be made, I promise. And then...
Thank you, Rick Bragg.
Yes,
I mean,
I
sometime
know.
New Orleanian, you know, he's wonderful.
And it's interesting to see how much New Orleans music is in this book and how much Jerry Lee loved New Orleans. That's a lot of fun for the local reader. Now, if you're gearing up, thinking ahead for the Tennessee Williams Festival, I would advise you to start now on John Lahr's terrific biography, Tennessee Williams' Mad Pilgrimage of the Flesh. And John Lahr, as we know, is a theater critic for The New Yorker, and if you start now, you just might finish it by March. It's a very long
Many
book.
years in the making,
Many
too,
years, and totally worth the wait, totally. And then for the New Orleans readers, you know, special spot in our heart for the 35th edition of Confederacy of Dunces.
Yay.
With this new hilarious cover. Imagine what it's like to design a new cover for that book. You know, it's such a famous image. And you can get that on coffee mugs and t-shirts and book bags, I do believe.
Oh, wow.
And then if you're looking around your house, think about Artist Spaces New Orleans. Tina's been here to talk about her photography. Text by Morgan Moulthrop, a really illuminating look into creative order and creative chaos. Make you rethink where you work a bit. Creole World is one of my favorite books that came out this year. It's photographs of New Orleans and the Latin Caribbean sphere. Richard Sexton's glorious photography. That exhibit is ending tomorrow, but that book is still a great gift. And then Empire of Sin, a story of sex, jazz, murder, and the battle for modern New Orleans. Sex, jazz, murder, you got it.
I'm reading that right now,
Isn't
Susan.
it fun?
It's
It
so
is.
good.
You know, it's got Madam's Storyville, the Axeman's Jazz, the Robert Charles Race Riots. It's a real page turner. So I think that's one of our best books this year. And The Great New Orleans Kidnapping Case, Race, Law, and Justice in Reconstruction New Orleans. That's by Mike Ross, who used to teach at Loyola University, terrific historian. A true story of an 1870 kidnapping of a young girl by two Creole women, the first black detective in New Orleans at a time when detectives were just beginning to capture the national imagination. And it's all true, but it reads like a John Grisham novel. I mean, and you'll drive around New Orleans looking for these spots in a new way afterwards. And then Laura Kelly's The Irish in New Orleans. So much fun.
Beautiful, too.
It's history, politics, culture, music, dance, everything. You know, it's a very joyful book. And I'm glad she had too much left over so she could do another one coming out soon.
And it's just incredible, well written, of course, but very beautifully illustrated.
Oh, yes, with wonderful photographs by Carrie Lee Schwartz. Terrific photographs. And then Mardi Gras New Orleans, the 5th edition. Thank you, Arthur. What can I say? Just gets bigger and better every time. And then if you're looking for a little decorative inspiration, you can look to Bonnie Warren's New Orleans Homes at Christmas with wonderful photographs by Cheryl Gerber. Just makes you want to tidy up and, you know, make things really festive. And then this, and it has a wonderful foreword by Peggy.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Let me
It's my
not
pleasure,
forget.
my honor.
The authority
Thank you.
on Christmas
but
in New Orleans.
It's a
of
gorgeous
course.
book. So
It
proud
is.
of Bonnie
It
and
is
Cheryl.
so pretty. And then this is brand new, just coming out in a week, and it's one of my favorite books to have come out this year. It's Talk That Music Talk, Passing on Brass Band Music in New Orleans the Traditional Way by Rachel Brunlin and Bruce Sunpie Barnes. This is one of those wonderful oral histories where you have students of the masters and the masters talking to each other, and you read it with a whole new appreciation for this part of our culture. It is fantastic.
And she has a book launch, too. Huh?
That's right. That's coming up on December 17th from 7 to 9 at the Old U.S. Mint, and there will be lots of brass band music on hand, so it will be something to really be there for. Now, everybody's got a war buff or a military historian on their list, and Ron Drez, who kind of came of age working with Stephen Ambrose, has a new book out about the War of 1812, Conflict and Deception, the British Attempt to Seize New Orleans and Nullify the Louisiana Purchase. It's a mouthful of a title, but it's a mouthful of a book, too. So that's fun for
I have
everybody.
to say, just to interject a WYES item here, he's going to be featured in our documentary on the Battle of New Orleans that Tom Gregory and Marcia Kavanaugh are doing in January.
He knows. He knows his
we're
stuff.
excited he's here.
And then for kids of all ages, who better than William Joyce, our own sweet, sweet resident genius. And he, with one of his Moonbot studio compadres, he's come up with A Bean, a Stalk, and a Boy Named Jack, his own take on this wonderful, wonderful childhood story. And then I'd like to remind you all, don't forget to support your local independent bookstores. And we have 2 new ones this year that are really worth checking out. One is May Books, an art and design bookshop at 2402 Royal Street. And the other is Tubby & Coos Mid-City Bookshop at 631 North Carrollton, which has fantasy, science fiction, children's books. And if you go to Tubby & Coos, you can see Harry Potter's nook under the stairs.
It's right down the block from
right
Dixie.
there.
It's so cute.
A lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Susan, and Merry Christmas. Thank you. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Laura Ferreira gave us the name of the Louisiana-made syrup, famous for its unique taste in its bright yellow can and the town in which it is manufactured, Steens, Abbeville. I know Poppy knew that one right off the top. Now tonight's question. This is another Poppy one. Name a type of large orange citrus. Here we go. Large orange and a citrus fruit with a loose, peelable skin that grows locally this time of the year. I can almost smell it. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Have we got prizes for you? We have a copy of the Essential Louisiana Cookbook by Stanley Dry and Eugenie Yule. We have a Louisiana Life Culinary Louisiana Calendar, a Louisiana Life magazine subscription, a gift certificate for 2 courtesy of Vian's Tea House, offering their culinary and gourmet tea experience in Old Mandeville, 2 dish towels with the messages Santa Claus, look at that, and Kelsey Schreiber modeling them, Santa Claus and no la 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 from our friends at wearablevegetables.com. By the way, I've heard that they have some other items that are now at Little Miss Muffin as well, Little Miss Muffin Shop in Lakeview. And we also have 4 tickets to the Lightwire Theater, a very electric Christmas on December 23rd at the Joy Theater. Wow, there we go. And now it is our real pleasure to once again say welcome back, actually, Kimberly, because you performed with Loose Cattle with our friend Michael Cerveris a few weeks back. But now you've got something completely different.
Completely different. So coming from out of town, being out of towners, Michael now being a resident of the Treme, having been on Treme, decided to buy a house in the Treme. He's very method. He's very method. When we came into town, actually, to work on 9 Lives while it was going on, I wrote the script for 9 Lives, and in our downtime, Paul Sanchez, the composer, told us this story about his days in Cowboy Mouth with Mary Lassane, the bass player in his band now, about how they had recognized that the Clarice Starling's character in Silence of the Lambs shared a name with Clarice the reindeer in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the 1964 classic with Burl Ives as a snowman, and how they used to do voices back and forth to sort of entertain each other. And so in the middle of doing this very community-centric, very important piece that needed to represent the city well in 9 Lives, we did continue to make these jokes and voices and finally said, this would be a really funny show, but Silence of the Lambs is a little dark for Christmas. What about if we used puppets instead of live actors? Let's do it. So we came up with a Christmassacre Story, which has taken roughly about a dozen of the most classic holiday stories, from It's a Wonderful Life to A Christmas Carol to a Peanuts Christmas Special, and combined it with basically the plot line from Silence of the Lambs, where Clarice is now using her time with Hannibal Lecter to help chase down Buffalo Bill, who has kidnapped Ralphie from A Christmas Story. So we've got Michael Cerveris again, both from 9 Lives and from Treme, from Loose Cattle. We've got our Tony Award-winning.
Look at Michael.
That's our boy. That is our Tony Award-winning lead. He is Burl Ives, but not Burl Ives the man, Burl Ives the snowman. So he is our live action. We're calling it his live action Mr. Rogers from Hell performance.
But this is really more for an adult audience.
This is absolutely for an adult audience. Although it's essentially it works for any. If you can handle an episode of South Park, you can handle this. So if your child can handle that, they can come. You should know that there is a blood splatter zone, which we do mean it is a blood splatter zone. You should definitely not wear cashmere or any designer clothing. The blood does wash out. And
this opens tonight.
We had our first preview last night, sold out. people screaming and yelling and laughing, and so opening night we're hoping is going to be the same thing. So we've got 4 actors playing 30 some odd characters, and then Michael Cerveris, Tony Award winner, playing Lives the Snowman, and new songs by Paul Sanchez that I absolutely am positive.
Now you're going to have some special guests, mystery guests?
Oh yes, we have a mystery guest every night, guest musicians. We don't mind listing there. We've got John Boutet on the list, Debbie Davis, Robin Barnes, Paul Sanchez, obviously, but you never know who's going to appear what night.
Susan Cowsill, too.
Susan Cowsill. Every time the doorbell rings, you're not quite sure who it'll be. Davis Rogan is on the list, so it's a different show every single night, depending on who stops by.
Well, Kimberly, we've talked with Michael about the fact that even though he lives in New York, he also lives in New Orleans, and really lives in New Orleans and has embraced the city.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of doing that, too.
Oh, well, he bought a house, so, I mean, clearly it became my house also. If a house has a pull-out couch in it, it's also my house.
So you really spend a lot of time here as well.
Yeah, 9 Lives sort of meant that for the last year I've been spending 6 months out of the year here and 6 months back in New York. And I have to say, with reference to this show, the city has absolutely proven again, you don't want to be anywhere else but New Orleans if you're going to celebrate a holiday. It doesn't matter if it's Valentine's Day or Mardi Gras, 4th of July, Christmas, you want to do it in New Orleans. It's the only way to do it.
And so there is a real capacity for joy here, to say the least, right?
Oh, not only joy, but mayhem that would be appreciated nowhere else but New Orleans.
And you are originally from New Jersey?
Yes, and we appreciate mayhem there, but it's this is a sort of an artful mayhem.
Well, great. We're glad you're a New Orleanian here, relatively new. Okay, and of course we turn to Mr. Allen to keep us up to date on the boards here.
And with that show, you will shoot your eye out. I want you to know. So we wanted to start off, Edmund Kean, the wonderful actor, on his deathbed said, "Dying is easy, comedy is hard." And indeed, Twelfth Night, one of the Shakespearean great works, is being presented right now at the New Orleans Museum of Art by the wonderful players of the NOLA project. And I have to say, directed by artistic director A.J. Allegra, it is fabulous. It's really, they're doing it right. It's in the Grand Hall, a perfect setting for whimsy and fantasy. And the cast is absolutely spectacular, led by Kristen Wittersheim, Cecile Montaigne, James Bartell, and Keith Clavery as Malvolio. Twelfth Night, or What You Will, also sports Jake Bartouche as Fest, Sam Dudley as Agachik, and Kurt Owens as Antonio. I want to tell you, though, that there was about, I don't know, maybe tens of thousands of dollars worth of baffling that was put into the Great Hall. If you had been in a previous, as an example, the Romeo and Juliet production they did, a previous venue that they had done there, it really was hard. Sometimes the voices would get lost. Well, they've invested the money to make these sorts of productions now sound fabulous. So I have to tell you, the amount of money that they spent was excessive, but it was worth it. Get there early for a good seat. The place fills up very quickly, and it is, again, another success, I would say another feather in the cap for the 10th year, the decade of the NOLA project. 12th Night, or What You Will continue until the 21st of December. Also, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, being played at this time of year, of course. Southern Rep is doing their production with none other than John Spud McConnell. Yeah. Now, John is doing something different this time. He's actually directing himself in the production. Some of you may remember a production done about 2 years ago. Anne Mahoney Kadar, who was slated to do the production again as a director, unfortunately, or fortunately for her, is doing some work with American Horror Story, I believe. And so she is off doing that and unable to be there. But John did a great job in filling in as director, also assisted by Jen Davis as his assistant. Again, this is the traditional production that they did, in which they have the English music theater combined with a circus kind of atmosphere. Those of you who have seen it before know that there are performers who are skilled juggling, and they do a number of different circus type things that they do in the particular show. But I have to tell you that the performances are done by Mike Harkins, Jessica Nixon, Laura Friedman, Sherry Marina, and John Green and Joshua Smith are also very worthy of seeing. Donald Lewis is also quite good. They all portray the British actors who are then going to be portraying the Dickens characters on stage, so it's sort of a show within a show. And again, a special shout out to Danny Hare, who plays both the Prop Boy and Tiny Tim. You saw him in some of those photos there. Southern Rep, they have their Christmas Carol at Marquette Hall. That'll be through the 21st of December again. Another holiday tradition at the Stage Door Canteen of the National World War II Museum is the Victory Bell Show, and Victoria Reed has done it once again. This is a Victory Bell show that is really more down home. There is a special guest, and the casting of this special guest, I wonder who that might be. It's absolutely inspirational, though. You have to be there to see it. I shouldn't play favorites, but there's Courtney Bowe in the center. You got Christina Perez in red, and of course, Mandy Ridgedale on the right in blue. They are all wonderful. Their harmonies are exquisite. And again, this is a new holiday show. It's really the most New Orleans show of all of the Christmas shows that she's done. She's got Santa Claus in it, as well as Christmas Time in New Orleans. It is, again, the typical Victory Bell show with the special homage to World War II as well. But watch also for a special tribute to Victor Herbert and his Toyland and March of the Wooden Soldiers. Great costumes throughout this. And again, there's a brunch to boot if you want, or dinner. It's going to be playing throughout the holidays until the 28th at the Stage Door Canteen. And as the song says, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, there are two other Dickens is a Carol, Christmas Carol that's being played. There's the one first off at the Anthony Bean Community Theater, which is the one that's going to be more traditional and feature Harold X. Evans. But there's also one that is being done at Rivertown Theater's Performing Arts. And the interesting thing about that is that this is the Alan Menken musical, the one that was done for 10 years at the Madison Square Gardens and in New York for 10 years. And again, we'll get to see it for the first time as a regional premiere. Again, that should be a lot of fun. We also have something that's good for the holidays. It's probably the gift of hilarity that'll give on giving for you, the female version of the Neil Simon Odd Couple. And this is all female characters. If you remember, there were the Pigeon Sisters. Now they have the Castle Nuevo Brothers, I believe it is. So it's at the Timberlake Country Club, and that'll be playing through Sunday the 13th.
All right, Alan, thank you so much. And now it's time for our picks. Miss Susan.
Can't have too many literary festivals, of course. And the Hands-On Literary Festival and Masquerade Ball is December 28th through 31st at the Maison St. Charles.
All right, Alan.
Oh, we wanted to remind everybody about Cirque du Noël. Imagine, if you will, acrobats and the Louisiana Philharmonic together. Here it is, Cirque du Soleil, and it's called Cirque du Noël.
All right, Kimberly.
In keeping with the spirit of Christmas, there is absolutely nothing that can be, you absolutely have to get your hands on Debbie Davis and Matt Prine music, Power Couples, Oh Crap, It's Christmas, which has both been released and will be performed on the 21st of December.
Right, thank you.
For some real Christmas fun, tomorrow at Pop City on Magazine Street, I'll be signing books, but all day long, they're accepting canned food for Second Harvest. Every canned good you leave, you get an entry in a drawing to win a Dr. Bob Be Nice or Leave sign.
Oh, fun, how fun. And before we go to my picks, though, we did want to acknowledge, sadly, the passing this week of two very special people. Louisiana Hall of Fame drummer Paul Ferreira. This wonderful man actually played with Louis Prima and many other jazz greats. And visitation rights will be tomorrow morning from 10:30 to 12:30 at our Lady of Perpetual Help Church in Kenner. Also, so devastating, too, we lost UNO history professor and TV producer, writer Michael Mizell Nelson, and friend. Michael produced the documentary Streetcar Stories and also started the website NewOrleansHistorical.org, to name just a few of his many, many accomplishments. Both gentlemen will be sadly missed, and I know you're going to miss him, too.
Well, you have to mention Poor Boys when you mention Michael.
Absolutely, and doing all the research on that. Do not miss also Luna Fest, the Arts Council 10-minute sound and light show on the facade of Gallier Hall at 7 and 7:30 through December 6th. Incredible. And then tomorrow night, very quickly, WWL's Eric Paulson, singer Debbie Davis, Bill Lee as George Bailey, and many more. We're going to start a radio version of It's a Wonderful Life at Deutsches Haus Showroom. Also, we've got the Marine Band, who are performing all over the city. They're going, and also in the area, too. We're going to show you sort of a full screen of all of those. Look at how busy these folks are going to be. They're going to be, and also they're going to end up on Friday at St. Louis Cathedral. Really proud of them, and we look forward to seeing them, of course, around Carnival as well. And we look forward to seeing all of you all. Thank you very much. Good night.
Support for Steppin Out is made possible by local author Sarada Bonnet. In Notes of Forgiveness, Bonnet shares her childhood story as daughter of famed rockabilly singer Sherry Davis. Notes of Forgiveness, available in bookstores and at saradabonnet.com.